What's going on, party people? What is going on? This is your boy, Rome. And you are on the last show of the year. 2020 is coming to an end. And like we always want to do, we want to end it with something that you can feel. If you are tuning in right now, my challenge to everyone tuning in right now, like, follow the page, and share this show. We are not only live on Facebook right now, but we are also live on YouTube. 2021, we will be making a footprint on YouTube. If you don't know by now, the show is sponsored by 5-Star Graphics, Tom's and Sons, representing not only the best in fashion, but the city of New York. We are bringing everyone together kicking and screaming. You know why? Because this year has been an epic year for a lot of calamity. There's so many people that have passed and moved on to the sky. Shots out to one of our fallen soldiers in hip-hop, Ecstasy, from Houdini. Shout out to all of his family. Shout out to all of his people right now who are trying to deal with the heaviness. And then today, we lost one of our heroes in hip-hop, one of the iconic films that was made, Breaking, my man, Shabba Do. We lost him today. 2020 is not playing any favorites right now, man. So if you woke up this morning, you were blessed enough to not only be alive, but to maybe talk to family, friends today. Consider yourself one of the luckiest people on earth, because right about now, we still got one day left. Anybody can get it. Please believe me, man. Forgive quickly, love deeply. Shout out to anybody tuning into the Soul Show, which is the Sound of Orlando show. We're all about our people here. We're all about the story of our lives here, bro. And we're not doing this show just to fill up some more places where you can just go to a podcast and hear somebody cackle on about nonsense. We are doing this show because our city deserves more. Our city deserves not only to hear our story told from the people that done it, the people that lived it, and the people that are still doing it, but they deserve to hear from everyone else across this planet that has similar frequencies, that are living this hip-hop culture, and to know that this just ain't an Orlando thing. This just ain't a United States thing, that we are connected globally. We are connected. We are people that are connected. Our culture is connected. So, shouts out to everybody tuning in right now. You are tuning in to the Sound of Orlando show. Now, with that said, this next guest that I'm bringing on to end off the year, and I'm so like hyped because I was looking forward to this man ending off this year, because when we talk about hip hop music, we could not leave this man out. This man right here, you know, he set a whole new style, whole new trend. He changed the game on, and I can't leave this man out, this group out, EPMD. For those that don't know who EPMD is, man, they're one of the pillars of hip-hop music. And for those that know EPMD, know they heard on that side B, on that tape, on that side B, that knick-knack, paddywhack, bro, that was everything. And that man ended that song like a true champ that he was and still is, and just totally flipped rap on its face. And if you don't know who I'm talking about right now, He is one of the people that represents the hit squad. One of the nastiest people to ever do it. Give it up one time for my brother, Kevin Madison, a.k.a. K Solo. Let's go. Uh-oh, you got to take it off mute. We can't hear you. Take it off mute.
Thank you, Orlando, for having me.
Let's go.
I'm in the building. Thank you, Rome.
You already know, man. You already know, bro. You inspired so many people, bro. Out here in Orlando, I witnessed it in real time. You know, that knick-knack paddywhack was like everything, bro. You had people arguing like they were arguing to be on the symphony. Like, I mean, it was such a great moment in hip-hop history. Shout out to EPMD for kind of introducing you that way.
Shout out to EPMD, DOS Effects, and Redman. And
yes.
You know, our whole crew, man. You know, we that's why we came out here, man. We don't want to be on top of everybody fighting with the resources. We wanted everybody to do their thing. So we came to Orlando about 10 years ago and just started laying the groundwork for a new movement. And me and Redman have been heavily involved in that. Redman's been running with my son, Young Wolf, making sure he comes in correctly. It's pretty cool. Snoop Dogg, I want to shout him out too because he's laying some groundwork too. And like I said, man, you know, Orlando has its own sound though. It's like we're definitely creating an own sound for Orlando because.
No, I don't think anybody heard you. Could you say that a little bit louder for the deaf people in the back?
Yeah, we have our own sound in Orlando. It's like it's not like regular.
Did you just hear what this man said? He's echoing this entire movement right now. And he's done epic shit in his life. He don't even need to do that. But he's saying to everybody in the city, bro, we got our own sound. We got our own movement out here, bro. Talk about it, brother. Talk about it. Are you good, bro? You hear me? Oh, you press mute.
Excuse me. A lot of artists out here in Orlando have the different sound. That's why it's pretty hot out here. Everybody, when they come out here and they see these young rappers to the old school, to the middle ground, Pine Hill, shout out to The Wire. Everybody has that sound here that's different, you know, because we're Caribbean based. You know, there's a lot of Latino, Cuban, West Indian, Haitian, Bahamian. All of this is a mix. It's a melting pot. And musically, dialects change when you have all of them in the room. So you're going to get something different. It's like gumbo. Really, really different. And it's on the edge right now of being in a whole new scenario, you know?
Right. I mean, and you know what? I mean, yeah, I get it. You just said what needed to be said, but I don't even think you realize how important that is to hear you say that. Because when we're talking about this city and how so many people, you know, don't come out of here, but they don't say that they're from here. And to hear you say that, and we all know you ain't from here, and to notice the vibration that's out here, all the ethnicities that are part of this gumbo, this pot that we all seem to make, and the importance of even saying, yo, Orlando's got its own sound. I mean, I think that says it all when it comes to how your voice matters, how our voice matters, how when someone says something in hip hop, whether you grew up with them or you didn't, when they speak on things like that, bro, that's everything for people. Because at the end of the day, bro, you know, sometimes all you got is where you from, and you know that firsthand. You know, coming up in that Long Island, not coming up in the Bronx or Brooklyn, where everybody knows, like that's Miami, right? Like everybody knows about Miami. You coming out from a place where you got to fight for yours. You got to bring pride to who you are. So I know you know that firsthand. Talk about what it was like growing up out in that area and CI and having to make a name for yourself when it came to this hip hop music? Talk about that.
So I grew up in Long Island with Biz Mark and EPMD. Me and Parrish was real young, learning hip hop together. His brother had a group that Bambaataa used to let open up at the shows, and Parrish would DJ when he can, and we had to play the equipment and plug things up. We did what we had to do. But I remember being real young at the Roxy's and opening up for them. We was real young, me and Parrish, and I remember the Double Trouble gave Parrish the plates for the song Double Trouble that was in Wild Style, and we just kept it. Our thing was not getting in the game, because coming from where we were coming from, New York, Long Island wasn't on the map at all. So Rakim, myself, Bismarck, EPMD, Public Enemy. When all of these groups hit, it was epic because no one gave us a shot, and we would basically get a shot through people hearing our music and then finding out where we were after. So, and I remember seeing Rakim at the MTV award, and I seen how Rakim, when he came up and approached me, I seen it in his face that it was like a breath of fresh air to see me and him
Right.
in the room, all the stuff we went through. Usually when we see Rakim is standoffish and he's not smiling and he got a very serious face. But this time, it was a different Rakim. It was like we had, did our work. We had came and did exactly what we said we were going to do, and we were respecting each other and acknowledging each other's, because Redman is my little brother, not by blood, but by industry standards. And sometimes, like Reggie says, we're closer than family. And it was like I would bring him in on my scenario as he would do me his. And I just was always say to Redman, when we were nobody, that when we come in here, we're going to leave a mark, and it's going to be something that's going to be respected throughout our life. And I was always making sure that he understood how important it was to not mess this opportunity up, and neither one of us did. I had different contractual obligations to different people, and some of them went left, but overall, me and Redman kept our legacy intact as far as way people look at us and view us. And when we come in the room, the records move, and the images and all of that stuff that's created behind our magic always kicks the head. I heard Redman's first rhyme at the Sensations Club, and the first time I started pushing Parrish to sign him was when I heard him say "float like a butterfly," and he didn't have to say nothing else. Eric waited for him to say "sting like a rock group," but I didn't care. The way he came in with "float like," I knew it was Ali. I knew it was boxing. I was a boxer, and me and Redman right then became brothers. From that day, I knew, and I didn't even know he was born on my birthday, and it was like he was my brother, and we were always. Yeah, we were always.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Because hold on right there. Let's stop the presses right there. For those that don't know or don't go that far back with K Solo and Redman, there was, if you wasn't even from New York, you felt like you were brothers. Like you favored one another as far as like look, and you guys had the same kind of mannerisms as far as like that boxer, like that energy. Like you was trying to sock people in the mouth with hip hop. And that's crazy that when you're talking about he was same birthday. That's crazy that we're talking about Long Island, New Jersey. Yeah. That's crazy when we're talking about a video that's going around right now that shows Redman DJing, and a lot of people didn't know Redman was a DJ.
Yeah, he was my DJ when he came in. That's what he did. I said,
talk about it.
Yeah, I said, you DJ for me because I had the deal at Atlantic, and then Reggie DJ'd, and then, in fact, and to tell you the truth, when Redman first got down, they knew he was a dope rapper, but they didn't know if he was going to sell or not, because I was like, he's going to sell. And they were like, well, let's put a record out on him on our album and we'll see. But so I started the legwork before the record came out. And I had him opening up for me. And what he would do is go on the stage. After he DJ'd my set, I would say, here, rhyme for 15 minutes for them so they know you coming out. So this is before he got on the EPMD record, Hardcore, to make the brother act fool. I had him working and doing groundwork already because I just knew. Sometimes you just have a gut feeling and you know someone's going to be big. And then there was a dilemma. He didn't want to sign autographs. And I used to be like, you have to sign this. And he would be like, but they don't know me. And I say, you gotta sign these things, man. You're gonna be huge. And he didn't really know. I knew because I just know the energy he was bringing to the table. If
Right.
I was gonna, yeah, I just knew it, and I would make him just sit there and sign autographs, and then he would just sign autographs with us, and just go on a tour, and just sign autographs and then sure enough, it came into fruition. He came into his house, and I groomed Snoop Dogg too when I was in the West Coast with Snoop, and Snoop was going through the murder trial, and he was the young Calvin Broderson. He wasn't cocky, he wasn't brash. He had the same energy Redman had, only laid back. He was laid back. And anything you said to him, he had a rebuttal for it in the same tone he has. So we were grooming Snoop to be Black Exploitation's next star. And Sam Snead and myself laid the groundwork for the samples of the Black Exploitation for Snoop stuff to take off. So it was instrumental that we put Black Exploitation with Snoop because at the time, Bad Boy was doing real good with Black Exploitation, but me and Sam kind of mastered it in a way. We knew that's what we always wanted to do. So when we heard Biggie just confirmed it, it was like, okay, there it goes. It's working. And then we gave it to Snoop, and Snoop sold 4 million also. Not saying, Dr. Dre's production was tight too, and all the guys worked, but me and Sam Snead laying the angle for Silky Slim to be in that bracket. Yeah, because then the throwback was coming back very hard. The Black Exploitation, when Biggie Smalls used that sample, we knew where it came from because we're older than him. We were like, okay, he got Sawada Smalls from the movie Uptown Saturday Night, and he flipped it. And we was like, yeah, that's what he's supposed to do. But we were up on it, and a lot of people didn't know Biggie Smalls was a movie already, and then he got sued later on. He wasn't able to use it. Paramount Pictures owned the logo Biggie Smalls, so they said you can't use it, and he changed it to Notorious Big. But we understood what he was doing because me and Sam Snead was like 10 years ahead of it. When we was at the Hit Squad, we were like, you guys are doing funk, but if you do this, it's going to be, we just knew it. We knew it was going to be big. So it was happy to be with Dre when that went through too.
Right. And we're going to get to that space where, because a lot of people I know, in Orlando may not even have a clue that you were a part of that Death Row movement and that next wave. Obviously before all those events kind of came about, but you was right there with that wave that was coming from there, and a lot of people don't know that. But before we get there, let's stay back with Redman, because you're talking about history in which maybe inside basketball, inside baseball in New York, but for a lot of people in Florida, a lot of people in Old Town Sound, they don't know what you're talking about and how in depth, like you was behind a lot of the things that were brewing. Like if somebody didn't know K-Solo exists, they would have thought Redman just showed up and became a part of the Hit Squad, and that's not true. To your point, you were instrumental in actually telling people, hey man, you gotta use it this way, and taking somebody in which right now he's probably top 20 all time in a lot of people's list of one of the greatest lyricists to ever step on, in rap music. And you were instrumental behind that. Talk about that wave when you were out here trying to push your career. And what was that moment when PMD said, all right, we're going to put you on this album? One of their legendary albums too, mind you. But what was that moment that you knew, okay, things about to change around here?
So what happened was, in that era when me and Parrish had not seen each other for a long time, we were growing up, learning it together. He was one of the first rappers that really was taking it serious, like me, Amazing A, Burgermeister. Parrish, being the youngest out of all of us, though, had a foot in the door because his brother actually landed the deal at Tommy Boy for Rock Squad. But his brother really wouldn't listen to Parrish. He would always be like, I'm the older brother, you just do it my way. And I would always be like, Parrish always had the great ideas, like records to use. Like Parrish always had those ideas, and Parrish was always, reserved, quiet and reserved, always paying attention like me. He was a football player. I was a boxer. I would always pay attention because, in boxing, you got to pay attention to body language. You got to pay attention to posture. You have to pay, everything has to be seasonal in boxing for you to make anything work in it. You just can't look at the opponent's feet. You got to look at the way he moves, his timing, his the way he does things. If he pulls his punches back, you have to. So rap is like that with us. So when Parrish got the opportunity to be his own and he did EPMD, I was locked up doing I was doing a bid for beating up some bikers, and I'm listening to the guys on the radio, and I didn't even know it was Parrish. They're playing "It's My Thing," and all of the dudes are listening to it on the Walkman, and they would say, "Yo, that song is on," and the song was the song that EPMD came out with called "It's My Thing." So we coming out the shower, and I'm listening to the beat, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I remember this record," but I didn't know it was Parrish from Brentwood. I had no idea. So I get out. In fact, this is when I met DMX. I met DMX in jail too. But me and DMX, when we met in jail, I didn't know this was Parrish at the time. Me and DMX are meeting. He's in one area in the jail. I'm in one area in the jail. So all the guys in my cell, I ran through all of the guys in my cell. He ran through all the guys in his part of his cell. So they were all like, "Yo, we're gonna go in the yard. Let them two rhyme it out and whatever, and me, but it wasn't a battle to me. X explains it like a battle. I don't. I just explain it like I was their champion, he was their champion, and when we got together, we was exchanging lyrics. And then when I used the verse of Spellbound, everybody laughed at him because he didn't know.
No. You ain't gonna just glaze over that. Slow that down. Tell everybody in Old Town Sound what you just said. You dropped the verse of Spellbound. Let's go.
Yeah. So when I dropped Spellbound, and because it was like we was in the yard for battling for a whole hour, we were going through everything. And I couldn't. I'm not saying he moved me or I moved him. We both had a similar style. We both had those deep voices, and we were both locked up. We were both trying to be somebody. So I said, "Fuck it. Let me just drop this shit that I know that's just gonna have everybody. You know what I'm saying? Let me just go for the juggler vein." So I had one verse of Spellbound writ, and I did it. I said, I'm not a G-A-M-E, the ain't the same A-R-A-P-P-E-R, Styles O-L-D. I just ran it. I'm W-Y-O, and everybody just started laughing because he looked at me like he didn't have a rebuttal for it. And I didn't do it in a way to do that to him. And then when I did it, nobody won, nobody lost. But you know how it goes. We going back, but my guys were confident, like, "Yo, you got him, yo." His guys were like, "Man, I don't know." But, they still liked him too. But when I got out and me and Redman were doing shows, he was showing up telling people it was his record. But let me go before that. So EPMD hears it first. And Spellbound was so big, I didn't realize how big Spellbound was because it didn't sell a lot of records. It did well, got my face known. And, I sold about 250,000 with it, but that's good. And it wasn't like the drama that I got from Spellbound. I always say to myself, was it worth it? The drama, because DMX would say that it was his record, and everybody knows DMX was dark. Everything DMX rhymed about was dark. And right. I'm not saying Spellbound wasn't. It was dope, and it was like Muhammad Ali rapping with some Public Enemy music in the background. That's what it was. I was a fighter, and I was going to change transitions to this, and I wanted to be brash, good, and I didn't want to be looking like the other rappers who were just talking about the drug game and other things. I wanted to be a studious rapper with the look of he's intelligent and he can handle himself in every areas, and that's what Spellbound was. So when Parrish heard it at the barbershop, because barbershop people always talk, I had a guy by the name of Randy who was cutting all the hair at Mr. Richie's on Carlton Avenue. So when Parrish would come get his haircut, we would come get our haircut there. He would tell Parrish who's the guys in the hood that got the lyrics. And he would always say, "You got to check K Solo out." And he said K Solo. He didn't know me as K Solo. Parrish as a kid knew me as KV. But as you grow older, the name changes, because when I was in jail, I would always be myself. So people would call me in jail K Solo. That's where that shit came from in jail. Yo, you always going, they didn't call me KV in jail. They would be like, "Yo, K Solo." I'd always be by myself. So when Parrish heard me rhyme, he said, "I got some, oh man, I remember you." When Parrish saw me, he said, "You was KV, back in my brother's group." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yo, you still rapping?" I said, "Yeah." And then Randy said, "That's K Solo." And then he said, "Oh, this is the guy you was telling me about." And he goes, "I remember him. He was always the guy in this town that was the guy in this town." Paris lived in the town, went over Brentwood. So when he came to his iRock, he put a beat tape on and I started frying it. He was like, yo, I'm gonna sign you, man. He said, I'm gonna put you out. So I was like, all right, cool.
Okay. Let's stop right there. Okay. Orlando, did you just hear what he said? Did you just hear what he said? Old Town Sound. Now, I'm gonna just tell you my story real quick. It's gonna be real in and out. When I first heard that Spellbound after that Knick-Knack Paddywhack verse, I was like, yo, this dude is insane because it's not like you reinvented the wheel. People spelled every once in a while in a rhyme, Rakim's famous verse in My Melody, they did that before. But you took that and said, damn that, I'm going to make an entire song. And that is a risk. That's a risk because for some people that might throw people off and be like, you know what? Nah, I can't fuck with that. That shit was jamming. It was jamming. Like, yo, like you took something that had to require some level of intelligence to say, this can work, and then an amount of courage to do it. Because most people wouldn't have done that because they were afraid they would have lost people. And you went out there and you put it all on the line. And let me tell you something, bro. Orlando was rocking that record. Like, dude, I'm telling you, dog. Like, you went up into any of the hip-hop jams. That record was rocking, Holmes. So, like I said, yeah, the sales might not reflect.
Yeah, and that's cool.
But that's okay. Yeah. At the end of the day, it is legendary not because of what it sold, but what it did. It changed the game. Continue, my brother.
So, yeah, no, that's very true, too. And I noticed that, too. I was like, okay, it didn't sell, but it definitely changed the game. And then Paris signed me, and then DMX was trying to get on, which I didn't understand. All he had to do was say, I would have put him on. DMX was dope. I loved his style. But here's the thing, too. Our culture as Black people, right? It's governed by another culture. It's governed by white America's culture. So I know that he went through some very, very dark days. And this is what separates us from him today. I know what it is. I never took it like he's taking it. And I'm happy for his success and everything. My thing was, like I said, me and EPMD were hallmarks of the game. You know what I'm saying? And Redman, we were hallmarks. Then Das EFX came behind us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Being hallmarks, we're known for something. We came to bring magic to the table and leave our mark, and we did. So we did our job. My thing was, after that, going to if you listen to Death Row's first records, Tupac's California Love was K Solo and EPMD's Knick-Knack Paddywhack.
Say that again, bro. No. Hold on. You ain't just gonna be dropping breaking news without us making a point to call it breaking news. Let's go!
Breaking news never stops.
Turn this motherfucking sound up, man. Blast this is turn the whole this up.
Say that again, bro.
Yeah, like when you hear Tupac's California Love, it's the remake of me and EPMD's Knick-Knack Paddywhack. I was present. And Dre was paying homage to the music that we did on the West Coast. Then when you hear Eminem and you hear Will the Real Slim Shady, Solo did that too. Will the Real Solo Please Stand Up? Way years before they did. So it's like hip hop. That's how we build off of great things. They have a foundation, they build off of them. So when I brought
hip hop moment, I don't mean to cut you off. This hip hop moment has been brought to you by the Sound of Orlando and my brother K Solo. Continue.
So those records, and then like I said, and then and we laid the foundation for those records to be Paramount Records, which they are. When the first rhyme I wrote, and the first rhyme that I said on record with EPMD was "My style's aggressive like a pit bull terrier." DMX spurred out. If you listen to DMX first record, it was Born Loser. No sign of a dog in the song. So we're trendsetters, and people take these things to go to another platform. So if you listen to his first record on 1991, Born Loser, there was no dog in it. There was no barking. There was nothing. If you hear K Solo's first record, my style's aggressive like a pit bull terrier. He's barking. He's taking the cadence and the whole scenario from my style's aggressive like a pit bull terrier, and he turned it into a whole, angle for him to catapult himself, which is cool. That's what hip hop is. We take from each other. I'm just letting people know where it comes from. It comes from somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Well, in the words of Rakim, take pieces and bits of all my hip hop hits, get your style down pat, then it's time to switch.
That's what they do.
You just said it right there. It is a positive and it's a negative. For a lot of people, that was their only entry to the market. For them to be able to find something in which they could kind of attach themselves to, like there's a lot of people out there, man, that they don't need that to enter the market. They're so witty and talented, like a Rakim, like a Nas, like yourself, that they can actually say these things. And then if somebody takes it and tries to go this way with it, you invent a whole nother way of approaching it. But for those people, they need to be the Walmarts, if you will.
Yeah, because what happens is when they start getting, like in this situation with me and X, it started getting crazy where you got all of these guys on bikes and they're looking like a gang, and people are getting like a little intimidated. Not that I am. I'm cool. If I arouse you or shake your feathers or ruffle your feathers, it's entertainment. Okay, it's cool. But when you started, accusing me of things that I don't know you enough to dislike you. I met you for 45 minutes in a jail that we were in the yard. I don't know you enough to not like you. I don't have any drama with you. This is your angle on something, and this is my angle. Everybody has an opinion, My thing is that I know what I bring to the table, though. I know that when I walk, I can steal thunder without knowing it, and I don't mean to do that. I want everybody to feed their families, but I calmed down over the years because it was so bad. You know what I'm saying? It was getting very bad. So I came out here to build this and make this thing happen with my kids and other dope artists like, everybody out here, Unique, you know what I'm saying? Deuce Madison, Rome, everybody that's getting it off. It's like a gumbo. We all gonna cook. But like I noticed that when you challenging somebody's style in hip hop and you're doing good, America they don't let two of you. They only want you to have one. So sometimes the artistic form suffers because they can't have two in the space. They want to have one. They want to pit the other one against the other one. The new bull against the old bull. But I'm the original rap criminal. Wolfgang Word of Mouth Mania, K Solo. There's really not too many people that they could put against me to have the angles I have. And I'm not trying to go against anybody anyway. I want everyone to feed their families.
This go sit down somewhere moment has been brought to you by the Sound of Orlando and my brother from another mother, K Solo. He just dropped several bombs on y'all and is talking about the reality of what they do in the industry and how one can occupy, but the other can't. And, they divide and conquer. We know this. Talk about what it was like to be a part of one of the most legendary squads. And when I say that, I'm not saying that just to say like, man, y'all was dope, man, dope. No, I'm saying that because chemically, you guys were hydrogen, oxygen, helium. Like you all had your own lanes. We live in a time where a lot of space is occupied in the same lane. But that was one of those moments in hip hop history where a Das Effects, before the sampling of Das Effects, There was nobody that sounded like DOS Effects. There was no one that sounded like Redman. There was no one that sounded like EPMD. Or K Solo.
Yeah, no
Or
doubt.
Redman. What did you it was one of those moments in hip hop history that can only be captured by Polaroid. Talk about that moment for hip hop history and what that was like being around inventors. You guys were all inventors of your own kind of projects, your own kind of products. One came out with the Ginsu knife, the other came out with the Midas Touch. Whatever, it happened, and I want you to explore that for my people in the city right now. Talk about that.
Yeah, because
oh, you put mute on back again, bro.
yeah, they had EPMD with the Droids of Funk. They had that throwback funk. Roger Troutman, Zap, more balanced. They had that, and it was on the East Coast. So really, they stood out like a sore thumb, and they were like grizzly bears. They were like 6 feet in change. They were huge, man. Like you've seen them, they were just like gargantuan figures, man. And they go right to work, man. It was just they didn't play no games. It was right to work. Me and Redman were more like Blue Wolf, Red Wolf. We knew our codes. I remember watching me and Redman was such a student of the game when we was at Rap Mania at the Apollo. We were watching Rakim take the stage, and remember the night that Rakim took the dice and juggled it like dice, and the mic spun on the stage like dice for like 3-4 seconds, and it just spinning while he walked up the stage. And me and Redman just looked at each other. It was just something that was so spiritual about what Rakim had did. And it was just iconic. And we kept talking about it the whole night. He was like, Kane went up, LL went up, everybody went up. But Rakim stole the thunder that night. Just by the way, when he finished his performance, he took the mic and he juggled it like it was dice. And when he spun it, everybody was just looking at the mic spin, like spin the bottle. And before you know, when you looked up, he was gone. It was the most iconic hip hop moment I ever saw in hip hop.
You heard it on the social, man. There's these moments that like are carved into your brain for life, and you don't forget them because they were like shift moments in your life where it changed you chemically. Spiritually, where you thought different, you felt different, you looked different. When we look at it from the outside, and I'm talking about Orlando right now, as I remember, being 20, 18, and listening to this music that, had its own sound. It sounded like New York, but it didn't sound like Brooklyn. It didn't sound like the Bronx. It had its own sound. And I was always attracted to a sound that was unique off into its own. It may not have been where you were familiar at, but it gave you comfort like you always knew about that town. And Long Island kind of represents that lineage. Like when I think of Rakim, when I think of Public Enemy, I think of like when I first heard Public Enemy, it felt like I always heard them before. Like even though I knew I heard it for the first time, when I first heard that My Uzi Weighs a Ton, I was like, I'm sold for life. Whatever the hell you put out from that point, I'm done, bro. We good. You may not even put out another record, but that's what happened with Staten Island. Staten Island had that sound, and it worked hard for that sound because for a lot of people, Staten Island was treated as a dump, and it wasn't until Wu-Tang said, damn that. Oh, shout out to the Force MDs. They were first to represent, but it took a long time for Staten Island to be something to say. And to have that feeling. What was it like when you knew you were part of that Long Island pride that Long Island lineage. Like that Long Island, like when people say Long Island, they can't not say you. They cannot say you. What say you? Oh, mute.
Bismarck was that too. Bismarck was so underrated. When Bismarck came out with Nobody Beats the Biz, it was over at the Red Parrot. It was over at Latin Quarters. I'm talking about Bismarck was on the same level as a Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh on them levels. And he was from Long Island. Craig Mack was from Long Island. Craig Mack is another one. They just had that. I mean, it's crazy, man. When I hear Craig Mack, man, to this day, I didn't realize how big Craig was. And Craig used to be the roadie for us. So in dealing with life, I, be dealing with Craig in life. But as a rapper, Craig had bars, man. Craig had it together, man. Just only thing that I wish I would have knew what he was trying to do. I didn't realize it. I'm a black exploitation genius, right? I could have took Julie and Maxine and then do Goldie with him and just give him the whole landscape. Because his age group, he didn't embrace that. He didn't know that was even access. That's the only thing Biggie had on Craig. Biggie went to the line of Biggie Smalls. He played the line. Shawada Smalls was a gangster in those movies. Biggie brought it to life through hip hop. If Craig Mack would have did the same thing with the Mac, oh my God, that's the only thing Craig was missing. But not realizing Craig Mack, I didn't even put it two and two together. I was too focused on what I was doing. But yeah, Bismarck is another one. Long Island legend. He was the hardest working man in show business. Bismarck would go on the train, go to every project doing the beatbox. He knew everybody. He's another one that was a trailblazer in our community that made it pop. So it was easy when Biz was in there. Biz helped EPMD solidify their situation. EPMD helped me solidify my situation. I helped Redman solidify his situation. It's the same thing.
This is what happens when you walk through doors and the doors don't slam shut behind you. You help your people, you help your town, you help your city. You want your city to be recognized for its greatness. And I want to talk about that Craig Mack because let me tell you something, man. We got to see that Puff promotion firsthand at Jack the Rapper when he was down here having that Big Mac. It was a Big Mac looking like a Big Mac. And that was probably one of the greatest moments in hip hop history because they were polar opposites. And Craig, say what you want about Craig Mack. One of the greatest songs outside of the obvious, What You Gonna Do When God Comes. And that, to me solidified his role. He was that bold. And he said, I'm going to put this on this album. And I know there's an opposite going on. And it risked his career because that was the only album he ever released on Bad Boy. But he took that moment and he said, I'd rather live in my truth than to die a liar.
That's right.
And when you think about Long Island and when you think about people that are artists right now or have been artists, that's probably one of the hardest decisions you'll ever have to make in your life.
That's very true. To
get money as a liar or to live and be broke with your truth.
That's right.
And that man, Craig Mack, defines that.
Yeah, he did. Yes, he did. He really did. All of them do. It's just like I said, Parrish spearheaded it, Eric Sherman spearheaded it, Craig Mack, he was, because he didn't even want to be on Bad Boy. He wanted to be where we were, but we were going through something. I want to say this too. Eric and Parrish, I want to say this to them in their defense and in the honor of them, right? EPMD had a lot of responsibility on their backs. Being younger than than you know, most of these icons that came out of Long Island and going where they went with it. You know, EPMD to me only made very few mistakes, and I want them to understand that. I want them to understand that no one's going forward. That, you know, you're gonna make some mistakes. Just learn from them and move on. You know, don't ever let it take you to a level of despair, because you guys did great. Your legacy is still something to be spoke about. And you know what I'm saying? You live and you learn and you move on, man. This is what it's about. Living, learning, and the mistakes you made, you won't ever make again. You know what I'm saying? You know, I say to Keith Murray too, one of our other counterparts that was Keith Murray. Keith Murray really didn't have the same opportunities we had. Keith Murray came when it was kind of like, you know, kind of desolate. You know, but I want Keith Murray to make good decisions too. I know me and Keith Murray had some crazy, you know, past stories. We're not going to go into that. We're going to embrace the good times, and we're going to embrace moving forward in life and thinking about the bad things we did we learn from them? You know, the gray areas, you know, are recorded and then move on. You can't believe everything you hear. People say things to make a spin. And then in the defense of that, like I said, you're the youngest member out of our outfit. So take it and learn, man. Life is a learning experience, man. You know what I'm saying? Anybody in Long Island, you know what I'm saying, I give my shout outs to that was part of our culture and our history. John Coleman, Ralph Mann, Ralph Wheeler, you know what I'm saying? These are guys that helped us, you know what I'm saying, stay alive. Mr. Richie Barbershop, to the old CI. I'm not here for the new CI. I'm here for the old CI. Gene Harley, Butch Harley, the Harleys, the Whites, the Grays, the Madisons, you know what I'm saying? The Smiths from Brentwood that came to CI, you know what I'm saying? You know, the Shermans that came from Brentwood to CI, the McGirts, you know what I'm saying? The people that really laid it down in the civil tone for us to have something in the future. These families are very paramount to our existence, and they're paramount to what these kids are doing now. My sons, the new kids that are coming out. Without that foundation, these guys couldn't exist. So I want to shout out all of those people that had something to do with building this bridge. You know what I'm saying? And I want to move forward and building the new bridge in Orlando, Florida, Miami, and do this thing again and bring some civil to it. Because there's a lot of things going on in our city in Orlando. I want to let them young cats know, like spooking them. Holler, man, yo, let's sit down and have a conversation. All these young rappers that are going through something, don't feel like you can't holler at your OGs. The one thing about West Coast got over you East Coast cats, the West Coast hollers at their OGs. They don't never wave the OGs off like they don't know nothing, and they don't, you know what I'm saying? They respect their OGs. That's why the West Coast is always shining harder than the East Coast, because they listen to their OGs. So if you guys are going through little gun problems and fights and little bickers and beef, reach out to us so we can, you know, clear the air and make your environment safer for your children and your parents. I mean, your life is hard. You're going to write about that and turn it into a positive. But you don't have to beef with your competition, because if you get rid of them, you're not going to have nobody that's going to push you like they are. You're going to need them to push you to be great. Y'all don't need to kill each other. They got mothers, you got mothers. They got kids, you got kids. There's always a better way to figure out, you know, your little scenario. So holler at your OGs. It's not going to make you a less of a person to holler at your OGs. That's what you have OGs for. You use them. You know what I'm saying? We here for y'all just like we want y'all to be there for us. When we want to holler at y'all about something, we want to be able to have a line of communication where we can be like, yo, you know, Redman and Lil Durk just did a record. That's what I'm talking about. My little brother reached out to Durk. They did a record. That's the young guy. He's going through something. I'm sure my brother's in his ear telling him just like we told him. So, you know what I'm saying? And I give him a shout out to all them young dudes on our coast. You know what I'm saying? The little Pooties, the Hot Boys, the Rico Cartels. Yo, holler at your OGs. When y'all get into something, holler at your OGs, man. We here. You know, we want to help. We want to help you become great too. You know what I'm saying? But holler at your OGs. You East Coast guys got to get off that taking the problems to yourself. You're young. Your brain ain't all the way developed yet. Holler at the Chiefs in the game. We can make it happen. We can make it work, and we can make it safe for everybody to get this money. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's about, y'all. You know
This stay on my lawn moment has been brought to you by the Sound of Orlando and my brother from another mother, K Solo. You would speak a truth to power because once again, it is our obligation as being elders to know when young people are just acting out because they feel aggression from us. It's another thing as well to acknowledge that we all need each other. This idea that anybody's going to be the hero of the movie is just plain ridiculous. We all need each other. We all can learn and benefit from one another if we would just stop this idea, to your point, that $1 out of my pocket is $1 in yours. You know, we got to stop that shit coming into 2021 because we deserve it. We deserve better as a people, as a community.
Yeah, that little baby died in the mall. A little baby got shot in the drive-by. I think his baby was 3 years old. You know, that could have been, you know, come on, like for real, like how are you going to take a gift God gave you to make money and turn it into a negative? Come on, like let's have these conversations. Let's take back the streets. You know what I'm saying? Let's respect ourselves. Let's respect our art form that we're making money in. And let's respect our parents that gave us an opportunity. And let's just respect before it gets to that. You know what I'm saying? Because we could all be like that. We can all get a chopper and spray the street up, but what is that going to do for our future? What is that going to do to our children? What is that going to do to us? What does that do? Does that show our mothers and our fathers that we really trying to do something productive? What is the method behind that? Like, let's clean it up. We could do way better than this.
You know well, you're speaking truth to power, my brother. But when you speak that truth to power business, you got to understand. Just as many people want us to go to that truth. There are just as many people that have been sold on the money. Money buys silence. Money buys misunderstandings and conflict. It's easier to conflict with somebody over money because if you have money and somebody else doesn't, that's an instant conflict. We are in a world right now in which we're looking at each other as objects and not as humans, not as humanity. So it's easy to off somebody if they're an object. They're just taking up space. It's harder to take out somebody that has a purpose or is not an object, is actually a human, and we're dehumanizing each other and everyone else out here, man, because like I said, to your point, and I'm agreeing with you, brother, we need to start having the conversation. It's not enough that we have it once a week. It's not enough. We need to have this conversation until the overall problems start eliminating themselves. We need to love more and hate less.
Yeah, and like I said, you guys, I would like to just leave this. You know, if you could reach me, you know, we got a basketball thing down there at the Salvation Army. We can ball every Friday and Saturday. We can figure this out. We can talk. We can create teams. We can create little games every night. You know, we have people come out. We barbecue. Let the community get out, meet each other. It don't have to be all, you know, you on this block, he on this block, this one's over. This is crazy, bro. This is, you know, our culture is Black culture. So let's take it back, you know, and nobody's harder than nobody. Let's all, you know, that's an 8-hour job. How's that dictating our whole life? When we walking down the street, we gotta look at each other like this when we look at each other. Why can't we just be like, yo, what's up? You know, why we always got at the time we see each other, it's like, what, you know, where does that come from? Who is conditioning us to do this to each other? You know, every time we see each other, it's gotta be, you know, we looking at each other, we sizing each other up. Why? You know, I'm not saying we ain't men and, you know, we ain't about to, you know, but why every time we don't even know each other, we ready to get at? It's crazy, yo.
Yeah.
We can't raise the next generation like this neither, because what's gonna happen is it's gonna be over so quick. You see this, what people don't understand is, this is not off topic, but this is a little deep. I think this disease is created. You know, I think this disease was created because how do you How do you have Bill Gates that he's in charge of all of these finances and these medical things? How do you know they don't even want to entertain us being civilized? They just starting to exterminate. You know what I'm saying? Because of stuff like happened at the mall that comes on the news. You know, you got a little bit of power, and then you can do this with it. You know, this kid is little baby's dead, and then 2 more guys is in jail for the rest of their life. Yo, we gotta use our brains and think, because we're being governed by somebody that's governing us. We're not governing this ourselves. Somebody is governing us. We're a subculture to a culture that's over ours. So now,
Right.
disease that's running rapid in the world, we have to take a vaccination for. Mind you, when you take the vaccination, they're gonna know where you are everywhere you at. They're gonna know everything you did. It's already. Come on, this wasn't the way. You know what I'm trying to say? We could have did this better. We could have had the conversation ourselves, but no. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're being led to be crazy, and then when you're out of control, then they okay, we're gonna do this. And don't think they want to see you with your rap music, with your Dracos in the video. They know what this means, man. You know, you young guys got to wake up, man, because not only are you killing it for yourself, you know, you getting everybody up out of here with it, because they're already afraid of our culture, and you're just making it worse by doing it that way. We didn't do that. We didn't bring it to the video. We didn't do that. We wanted you to have an opportunity. We wanted you to get a chance to do the same thing. Now, you know, you're going to parties. They got to worry about who's going to get shot up at the party. Why are they even going to have a party if they know they're going to do that? They're going to shut it down.
Right.
So, you know, you got to have some common sense. You got to think like Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X and all of the great ones that came before us. Think, man. Think for everybody else. Visually take a step back and say, do you want to represent like this? Or, you know, or give me a call, man, so we can have this conversation. Like I said, we'll be playing basketball at the Salvation Army. I set it up. You know, everybody come in there. You know, we have games. Yo, we sit down, we talk, we get to know each other.
Right.
Let's have these conversations. You know, I'm here in the city, man. I'm here.
This Wake Your Punk Ass Up moment has been brought to you by The Sound of Orlando, 5-Star Graphics, Toms and Sons, and my brother from another mother, K Solo. Okay. I love what you just said there, man. Once again, that is truth to power. We need to hear that more often than not. And you kind of centered on the idea of conversation. And really, this is being replaced. Technology replaces the conversation. If I can mine your history, if I can find what you did or what you might have done in your life, or you're capable of, so we're getting there too, and they made movies out of that, fuck I need to talk to you for, right?
Right.
That's where we're heading. That's where we're at. Because for a lot of people, technology has replaced the conversation. So everything that we listen to is completely and utterly out of context or uncomfortable. When a person is being 100 with you and honest with you, and he just tells you what it is based on his view, we feel uncomfortable. That's deemed now as awkward because, one, they didn't research you enough. They didn't get the data. They didn't, they weren't able to kind of tabulate that with your successes or failures. We live in that world now where everyone needs answers because the internet and technology supplies all the answers. But what you're describing, a conversation, is a game of risk because you never know who you're talking to. You never know where that person might be coming from, which to me is how you get the loving relationships, the real relationships, the real knowledge, wisdom, and understandings. You get that by taking the risk. But most people are scared of the risk because so much occupies their time, valuable or not. It just makes it completely impossible to carry on real conversations without feeling like there's an angle to it. Talk about that.
Yeah, it's true, but I met Glock 9 at the gas station. I was going to a show in New York, and I met him, and I didn't think, and I could tell. This is another thing I want to address. I met Glock 9. We met, we talked, and they was telling him, my cousins was telling him, who I was, and it didn't probably register, but I know. I'm saying that to say this. Look at this, look what's going on now. If we would have this conversation, we would avoid it because I already knew where it was going. Once I would have got wind of it, I would have, me and him would have contacted. Most things with these kids, they think we want something from it, but we don't want nothing from it. We have our publishing companies, we're up and running. We have, our families not in dire straits with being fine. Everything is cool. We just want to be on deck. So when something like this happens, we could, as we say, spin you out of harm's way. You know what I'm saying? Right now, Orlando's looking crazy because these young kids are taking hip hop down a road that it's not going to come back from. You got the gun in the video, you got all this money in your head, you look crazy. Your underwears are showing, you don't got your pants pulled up. This is crazy. So I'm just saying to them this. Take a listen, take a history lesson from me, man. You know what I'm saying? I was your age once, I understand. But remember, if you exercise correctly and you eat correctly, you'll start thinking correctly too. You're not eating right. You're not eating right. And you know why your friend thinks right in jail? Because they feed him the portion of food he's supposed to eat. So his mind ain't off the hook. He's not eating what he wants. See, you guys are eating what you want. You're not eating like you're supposed to eat. That's why you're thinking like this. So if you was eating right and sleeping right and you're listening to the right conversation, your music will be doing the same thing too. And the reason why you have a big fan base is because you got a whole bunch of crazy people buying into what you're saying. But the reality of it is, no matter how big it is, it's gonna come to an end. You gotta wake up, get on this boat here, because if you get on this boat, you're gonna have a long run. You're gonna have a long run on it. You're gonna enjoy your health. You're gonna enjoy what you're doing. You know what I'm saying to tell you? But as long it's gonna be short-lived. It's gonna be big, but it's gonna be short-lived. Because negativity is subtraction. It's real simple. Adding and subtraction. Real simple. I'm teaching you how to add. You showing me how to subtract. You know what I'm saying? It's simple. Add or subtract. Which one you want? You know what I'm trying to tell you? Because we had money. We did it too. We had money. We had the deals. You had too. But we didn't harm. We didn't bring that to our job. We had a long job. You're bringing to a job and your job is coming to an end. That's what I'm saying. Holla at me if I could save the day for you, because the way it's going right now, and I'm telling you cockily, it's not going to work. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Confidently telling you, you think you got this in the bag because you got youth, you got it all messed up, bro. And like I said, it's going to be short-lived. So holla at your OGs so you can get back on track. You know what I'm trying to say? You can meet your parents. We can, we can help you. We don't want you for nothing else, but we want to help you. It's the next generation. We just want to help. Because if not, you're on the train wreck. It's not gonna go to a nice destination. It's gonna be on a train. You remember how the train was in the movie War of the Worlds, and the train just rolled by when it was on fire? That's the train they on.
Right.
They gotta, you know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, watch War of the World, Tom Cruise. You see the way that train was riding? That's the train these young rappers are on right now. They gotta slow down. King Von dead. Come on now. My son was out there doing the video same day. I told him, I said, yo, same thing. Listen to me. You on the train, wreck. You need a conductor. You need somebody that's going to slow the train down and stop at every stop, greet the people. You don't have to listen to me. You could you had East Coast, you OB over. Okay, cool. But remember what I told you. I told you.
All right. This go sit your ass down somewhere and be quiet moment has been brought to you by the Sound of Orlando, my brother from another mother, K Solo. Man, it's been a great interview so far, bro. I know everything that you're talking about is informing a lot of our brothers and sisters out here right now on some real stuff, man. let's talk about what you got going on right now, and what can the world expect from K Solo and the philosophy behind him come 2021.
So we're working on. We got Young Wolf. He's in the studio. Adrian's in the studio. Chris LaShawn's in the studio. You know what I'm saying? Ron Varsity. I Am Varsity's in the studio. All these young kids from Brand Gang. You know what I'm saying? We representing the Brand Gang. You know what I'm saying? As a movement. You know what I'm saying? They're their age, and you know what I'm saying? They coming around. They're gonna be. You know, they're in your hood too. They're Pine Hills. You know what I'm saying? You know, my cousin Pudgy, he's doing promotion. Road Warrior Records. You know, and then the OGs like Benny Sinatra, Wolfgang, Word of Mouth Mania. You know what I'm saying? Black Floyd. You know, they OGs. They taking a shot. Unique. Cindy Portier. You know what I'm saying? They taking a shot too. You know what I'm saying? We just marinating right now. I'm about to drop. You know what I'm saying? What else? We got podcasts that we're about to launch with Eric B and K Slate, and we got Cannabis and Cassidy coming out as a group. Hip hop. It's called Hip Hop Surprise. What else? The Redman and Method Man's new album's coming out soon too. They're working on that. What else? So many things, man. We're gonna do a reading. Hopefully, if this coronavirus lifts up, we're gonna be doing reading days for these little kids, so we can start putting books in their hands. It's gonna be by the Salvation Army on East Colonial in Orlando, Florida. We're gonna get these books in these kids' hands and get these kids to start reading again, because these video games, I mean, they're reading, but a book is always good, you know. And if we have to do it to a tablet, that's fine. What else? What else we doing? We're launching a dog food company in Orlando, Florida. There'll be some job applications put out. We're gonna hire people from the community, teach them a new thing. Full Sail hopefully opens up again, so we can kick off the radio station that Michael Capuccio and them created from Palm.TV. Yeah, West Palm.TV. They invented a whole bunch of radio stations, self-contained without a DJ. Interesting, crazy software. And Road Warrior Records and Waste Management and Big Boy, we here, man. We just trying to do our part, man, and support our people, man. We just wanted to go where it needs to go, so you got a fighting chance to come back and do it again. Where would Mike Tyson be without watching Muhammad Ali first? And where would Muhammad Ali be without watching Joe Louis first? And where would Joe Louis be without watching Jack Johnson first? Nobody. It wouldn't be nowhere. So you got to pay attention to your OGs, y'all. Moral of the story, pay attention to your OGs. 2021, I want to expect to hear from y'all. If not, I'm going to put my hands in there and keep it moving. But like I said, you got the invitation, man. Use it. Glock 9. At the gas station, holla at me, man. We can fix this. You know what I'm saying?
This go play somewhere, I'm busy moment has been brought to you by the Sound of Orlando show and my man K Solo. Before we get out of here, man, like I said, bro, I was looking forward to this interview because you're the last one out the gate in 2020 for this show, man. So that's epic for me, man. I didn't even see me doing a show, let alone you being the last one on this show for the year. So that is just, when you're talking about completely blindsided, boxing turn, he didn't even see that right hook. This year has been a right hook for a lot of us this year. You don't know where you're going until you go. And this is one of those moments, man. So I'm honored to have you on the show. But what I would like to do is do one of my favorite segments of the show, and that is Top 5 Dead or Alive. Now, that is different for everyone. We're not asking you as a show to say what your list should be with Rolling Stone. We're not asking you to do the barbershop list. We're asking you to do the list based on what has inspired you. Top 5 Dead or Alive MCs. K Solo, go.
Okay, let me see. Rakim, Snoop, Chuck D, Redman, and K Solo.
That's been plenty of my mixtapes. I can rock with that list forever. Top 5 producers, dead or alive. Let's go.
Sam Snead, Eric Sherman, Premier, PMD, and Dr. Dre.
Man, isn't that wonderful when your inspirations just flow right off of your head?
Because what I always loved about EPMD, and I just want to say this, EPMD, when they work together, and Eric does the funk and Paris does the B-boy funk, and you put it together, unstoppable. It's just so hard to penetrate the walls of that. When they both, like when Paris is on his boom, 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 and Eric's on his, and they bring it together, I just be like, nobody. It's just crazy.
I mean, I'm so glad you said that, man, because for a lot of us, and I know you were one of them, that you just described it, you know, for a lot of us, hearing that EPMD, really for a lot of us that kept up with labels, Sleeping Bag Records was like a lot of what hip hop was for all of us. So anything that Sleeping Bag came out with back in the days, we were like, you know, supporting it. Yeah, we were talking about Fresh Records. We're talking about, you know, yeah, we, you know, when you're talking about that era, Sleeping Bag, it wasn't a major label, but the quality of hip hop and what it gave to the culture was like up there with Def Jam. You don't hear Sleeping Bag a lot in conversations about hip hop culture, but shit, for all I know, they might have been crooks, but their ethic.
There wasn't crooks. Will Sokolov was a good guy. Him and Juggy.
Right.
But you know
what I'm saying, it didn't matter. None of that mattered because when you looked at the label in that era,
right,
it was equated to quality.
Yeah,
like
right.
It was just, oh, okay, I don't care what's on. I don't even know. I don't even need to know or heard this person yet. I'm taking this record because, you know, we knew there's probably only a limited pressing of those records. So we took that record just on top. Like, whatever's on this is going to be dope. I ain't even worried about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, EPMD, man, legendary, brother. And to have been a part of that outing, you know, that must have been just a great moment in hip hop history for you, just cause.
Yeah, my greatest moment was being locked up on the second time, and the dude's telling me, one of the EPMD guys is bailing you out. I was like,
talk that shit. Yes.
I'm locked up, and then they said, yo, and there was Paris there with the Corvette, bailed me out, and I got out, and then we cut the deal with Atlanta. It was just crazy. It was a movie, man. Still a movie.
Right.
Still a movie.
Hey, man, let me tell you something, bro. You probably ain't gonna hear it enough. To me, you did legendary stuff. You definitely inspired me. I could speak for my city when I know we played the hell out of your ass for a long amount of years, bro. We loved what you was doing. We loved what that whole movement was doing. And, you know, whenever you want to do something out here in the city, bro, you know, we behind you, bro. We know you're back here.
We got a spot for you in the Jersey over here, so this ain't new. You over here with me.
Salute, my G. So I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that, bro. But right now, I'm giving you your flowers, bro. Because, like I said, we need that. And a lot of people. I'm so glad you started out the show by saying what you said about Orlando, because a lot of people don't know you live here. Just like a lot of people don't know MC Search lives here. You know, a lot of people don't know all these people are living here.
Right.
And You know, they think Orlando is like some Mickey Mouse town. And I'm like, dude,
Very
you
cultural.
don't realize how many people live here.
Yeah, very cultural, and yeah, it's the gumbo, man. It's all of those flavors that I mentioned. They're all here, and they're all mixing, and they're all putting their spices together and mixing it up, and it's definitely a different sound. Totally different.
Well, I would like to thank you for joining our last episode of the year. K Solo, you did what I thought you was gonna do. You took your time and you ran with it, bro. Shots out to K Solo for joining the show. Let's go, my dude.
Thank
Next
you for
year,
having
all
me.
right, man. You
Happy
already
New
know.
Year, everybody. Let's get it together, Orlando. We gonna pop.
Give it up one time for K Solo, aka Kevin Madison. Let's go. Yes, sir. Yes, this is the Soul Show. This is your boy Ro, man. Hey, man, thank you for joining our last episode of the year. I didn't even know I would be having episodes or doing a show. So all of this is completely and understandably insane to me. Shouts out to everyone that has tuned in for these last few months. I know this whole thing has been crazy for a lot of people, man. We're losing people left and right. But if we go into this new year with anything, man, I tell you, and I will tell you to my last dying breath, bro, forgive quickly, love deeply. We are the sound of Orlando. Don't let nobody fool you. Don't let nobody tell you different. We are the sound of Orlando. Get it right, baby. Next year, we ain't playing no games, man. Everything is coming raw feed. You heard? Shouts out to everybody on the check-in, man. My man Rick, who does all the post-production, musical direction. Shouts out to my man Coma. Shouts out to Chucky Trees. Shouts out to Strange. Shouts out to Jesse Jazz. Shouts out to my man Errol. My man Seth One. What's good, homie? Shouts out to William Taylor. Let's go. DJ Quest. Y'all already know, man. Shouts out to DJ Sam, man. Everyone on the check-in, man. I look forward to seeing you guys next year. Please be safe. New Year's Eve, man. Take your time, man. Let's get to this next year and start this shit over, man, and do something different. Hey, bro, if I tell you anything different, let me tell you something now. Love all you, man. Thanks for joining the Soul Show tonight. We are the sound of Orlando, baby. 2021. See ya.